The Chicago Bears are on the cusp of something special. After years of rebuilding, the team has made significant strides. The front office, led by general manager Ryan Poles, has put in the work to make sure the Bears are competitive in the NFC North. But 2025 could be the year the Bears take that next big leap. Why? Because this offseason presents a golden opportunity for Chicago to make some key moves that could transform the team from playoff hopefuls to real contenders. When we think of the Bears' needs, it's clear that they have a few glaring areas that need improvement. The team has done well in recent drafts, but to compete with the heavyweights of the NFC, they'll need to bring in some established veterans, players who know how to win and can elevate the entire team. Free agency will be key in filling those gaps, and as we've seen in recent seasons, teams can dramatically shift their fortunes by making the right signings. The Bears have the cap space, the draft capital, and the right leadership in place to make those big moves, but what if those moves included stealing some key players from the Detroit Lions? The Detroit Lions, under head coach Dan Campbell, have become one of the most promising teams in the NFC. They've been building a solid roster with a mix of young talent and veteran leadership, but, as with every team in the league, not all players are going to stick around forever. This is where the Chicago Bears could swoop in and potentially steal two significant pieces from their division rivals. According to reports, two Lions players are high on Bears offensive coordinator Ben Johnson's wish list: defensive lineman Levi Onwuzurike and offensive tackle Dan Skipper. If the Bears can pull off these moves, they could see immediate improvements in both their defensive and offensive lines, two areas that have held them back in recent years. Let's dive into why these two players could be exactly what the Bears need. Levi Onwuzurike, a versatile defensive force. Levi Onwuzurike, a 27-year-old defensive lineman, has been a solid but unsung contributor to the Detroit Lions defense since he was drafted in 2021. But 2024 was a breakout season for him in many ways. Onwuzurike earned his best Pro Football Focus grade to date with a 70.2, an excellent mark for a defensive lineman. This performance, coupled with his ability to play multiple positions along the defensive front, has made him one of the most intriguing free agent targets for the Bears. Onwuzurike has proven himself as a versatile defender. In 2024, he played 695 snaps, with nearly half of those coming as a defensive tackle and the other half as a defensive end. This kind of flexibility is invaluable in today's NFL, and it's exactly what the Bears need. Chicago has struggled with defensive consistency, particularly along the line, for several seasons. While they have some good players, they've lacked the depth and versatility needed to make a serious run at a Super Bowl. Onwuzurike could change that. Having a player like Onwuzurike who can seamlessly switch between the interior and exterior of the defensive line would give the Bears a major advantage. Whether he's rushing the passer from the inside or setting the edge against the run, Onwuzurike can do it all. This kind of flexibility would allow the Bears to get creative with their defensive schemes, giving defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus the ability to run multiple looks without losing the effectiveness of the defensive line. But Onwuzurike's value isn't just in his versatility, it's also in his durability. In 2024, he was a consistent starter for the Lions, starting 10 games and providing stability along their defensive front. His reliability has been key for Detroit's defense, and it would be just as important for the Bears. Chicago's defense has had flashes of brilliance, but it has often lacked the kind of consistency needed to win week in and week out. Onwuzurike would provide that steady hand, making the Bears' defensive front more formidable. Despite not being a sack machine, he had only 1.5 sacks in 2024. Onwuzurike's value should be measured more than just pass rush production. His ability to play effectively against the run, clog up lanes, and generate pressure without necessarily recording sacks would make him a key piece in the Bears' defense. The best part? He's expected to sign for a relatively low price, around $8 million per season. For a player of his caliber, that's an absolute steal. The Bears have the cap space to make this move, and bringing Onwuzurike on board would be an immediate upgrade to their defensive line. Levi Onwuzurike might not have the big name recognition of some other defensive players, but he's exactly the type of player the Bears need to take their defense to the next level. His versatility, experience in the NFC North, and low-cost price tag make him a perfect target for the Bears in free agency. Dan Skipper, the offensive line depth Chicago needs. Now let's turn to Dan Skipper, an offensive lineman who has quietly been a key player for the Detroit Lions in recent years. While Skipper might not be a starting tackle for the Lions, he's been an invaluable backup and a key contributor in jumbo sets. For the Bears, adding a player like Skipper could address one of the most important needs on the roster, offensive line depth. Chicago's offensive line has made significant improvements over the past few years, particularly with the addition of players like Darnell Wright. However, despite these upgrades, the Bears still lack depth. Braxton Jones has shown promise at left tackle, but he remains an unproven commodity. The Bears need a reliable backup who can step in at multiple positions along the offensive line if needed. That's where Skipper comes in. Skipper's value lies not just in his ability to fill in for an injured starter, but in his versatility. He has experience playing both tackle positions, which would give the Bears much-needed flexibility along their offensive front. While he may not be a star, Skipper's ability to step in and contribute in a variety of roles would make him an essential piece for Chicago's offensive line in 2025. And with his experience in Detroit's system, he'd be able to transition to the Bears' offense with relative ease. But Skipper isn't just a reliable backup, he's also known for his role in some of Detroit's more creative plays. Under offensive coordinator Ben Johnson, Skipper has been involved in some trick plays, including a memorable touchdown reception against the Buffalo Bills. While trick plays might not be a huge part of every game, having a player like Skipper who can execute them effectively is a bonus. His ability to contribute in unexpected ways would give the Bears an extra dimension to their offensive playbook. What makes Skipper even more appealing is his popularity among Lions fans and players alike. He's known as the most popular scrub in football, and his presence in the locker room would be a huge boost for team chemistry. Skipper's work ethic, leadership, and personality would make him a great fit in the Bears locker room. The Bears are in the process of building a team culture that fosters success, and Skipper would be an excellent addition to that culture. Dan Skipper might not be the flashiest player on the market, but his value to the Bears would be undeniable. With his versatility, leadership, and ability to step in whenever needed, Skipper could be the perfect depth addition to Chicago's offensive line. And with his connection to Ben Johnson's system, Skipper would be able to step in and contribute immediately. Stealing from the Lions, a bold statement for the Bears. Stealing two key veterans from the Detroit Lions, Levi Onwuzurike and Dan Skipper, would be a massive statement for the Chicago Bears. The NFC North is an incredibly competitive division, and the Bears need to do everything they can to catch up with the Lions, who have quickly become one of the most talented teams in the conference. By targeting players from the Lions, the Bears would be sending a clear message that they are ready to compete for the division title in 2025. These moves would address two key areas of need, depth and versatility along both the offensive and defensive lines. Adding on Onwuzurike would shore up the defensive line, giving the Bears a versatile, reliable player who can play multiple positions and help improve the defense's consistency. Meanwhile, signing Skipper would provide crucial depth along the offensive line, ensuring that the Bears have the necessary backup if injuries or fatigue take a toll on the starters. But beyond the positions they play, the acquisition of Onwuzurike and Skipper would be a signal that the Bears are making aggressive moves to improve their roster. These two players have proven themselves in the NFC North, and their experience would be invaluable as the Bears look to make a playoff push in 2025. The 2025 offseason will be a pivotal one for the Chicago Bears. With plenty of cap space, draft picks, and a solid foundation, this could be the year the team finally breaks through and becomes a serious contender in the NFC. Adding veterans like Onwuzurike and Skipper could be the moves that propel the Bears to the top of the NFC North. If they pull it off, Chicago could be looking at a promising future with a defense and offensive line that are built to last. The future is bright, and the Bears are ready to make their move.